Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. Chase Sr. filling in for Harrison Graham. And given how crazy NFL free agency has been this week, H. Graham, he earned some time off, so I'm here to fill in. And this is why you subscribe to the channel, because regardless of who is here or what happens, we're going to bring you the latest surrounding the Chicago Bears. And we have some breaking news to get to, and it's some big news at that, because the Bears have released All-Pro cornerback Kyle Fuller. So according to Ian Rappaport, Kyle Fuller is on his way out. He's getting cut to free up cap space. And this is a move that is going to save the Bears some money. And Kyle Fuller in 2021, he would have had a cap hit of $20+ million. So this is significant news because the Bears are losing an All-Pro. They've been cap strapped during free agency. That's why they've been somewhat silent, other than signing Andy Dalton to be the starter of this franchise. So I'm sure Bears fans are fired up right now because you're seeing a face of the franchise get cut. And this is something that has been circulating and that we've been following on Chicago Bears now the last couple of days. Reports had surfaced that the Bears were looking for trade partners for Kyle Fuller. Obviously, they couldn't find one, so Ryan Pace decided to part ways and cut Kyle Fuller. This is a premium player who's going to hit the open market, and there are going to be multiple suitors. But for the Bears, it's not good at the cornerback situation. And I'm sure for Bears fans, they can be really pissed off at this move. So hop into the comment section. Let us know how you're feeling. What is your one-word reaction to the Chicago Bears releasing Kyle Fuller? Again, subscribe to Chicago Bears Now because the latest news, rumors, trades, and signings, we're going to cover it all here. And as I mentioned, Bears fans should be really frustrated because this has been an offseason where Bears fans have been taken on a roller coaster, right? There were rumors that they were all in on Russell Wilson. And Ryan Pace and John Schneider had conversations about possibly bringing Russell Wilson in. And then the Seahawks got to the point where they were saying, hey, we're not going to give up our franchise quarterback. And Bears fans were so excited by the potential of that move. And then what did Ryan Pace do? Well, he panicked and he settled and he brought in Andy Dalton. What a roller coaster ride it's been. You think that you're going to get Russell Wilson, then you have to settle for Andy Dalton, and now Kyle Fuller, who's been a face of this franchise, one of the best cornerbacks in the league, has now been cut. And the cornerback situation for the Bears, it's not in a good position right now because you're looking at a bunch of scrubs who have to fill in for a really premium player. As I mentioned, Kyle Fuller is a former All-Pro. He's still only 29 years old, and because he gets cut, he is now immediately available, and several contenders are going to be interested. And he hops on board a free agency class that at the cornerback and safety position is pretty loaded in the secondary, and he is going to be the best player that hits the open market in the secondary among all NFL free agents. So, hey, make sure you subscribe to Chicago Bears Now. Head to youtube.com/Bears Now. We have you covered on everything that is happening with the Chicago Bears. We have video on demand. If anything big happens, we go live. And when something like this happens and Kyle Fuller gets cut, we are here to talk about it on the channel. Let's take a look at Kyle Fuller's numbers for 2020. Again, one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. 65 tackles, 8 pass breakups. He had 1 interception and 1 forced fumble. And since he got into the league in 2014 when he was a first-round pick selected by the Bears, this has been a player who's made a bunch of plays. You look back to 2019, he was even better than he was in 2020. 82 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, 3 interceptions, and 12 pass breakups. So, yeah, you look at the Bears defense right now, and they still do have some premium players, especially at the defensive line with Khalil Mack. At the linebacker position, you have headliners like Roquan Smith, but at the back end, it's a weak secondary, especially at the cornerback position. And I understand that the Chicago Bears were cap strapped and they needed to save money, and he would have been a $20 million cap hit in 2021. But you couldn't find a trade partner to get compensation back for an elite player, and you have to release him and you get nothing back. That's why Bears fans are frustrated right now. And also, you have to talk about this. Kyle Fuller is only 29 years old. We're not talking about some scrub who's at the back nine and the tail end of his career. So this is the end of an era for the Chicago Bears defense. Fuller was selected 14th overall by the Bears back in 2014, and the contract, it was fat. 4-year deal, $56 million. He signed that back in 2018, so he still had some time left on that deal. And the biggest reason why Kyle Fuller is so valuable, he's been available. This has been a guy who's consistently performed at not only an elite level, but hey, he's been a cornerback who can consistently shut down the opposing team's number one wide receiver. I find this stat to be remarkable. Kyle Fuller has played in 16 games in 6 of his 7 seasons in the NFL. He missed 1 year because of injury, but other than that, Kyle Fuller has been consistently available for this Bears defense, and this is now a far cry from the monsters of the Midway. And this is a Bears team that is ready to win right now, which is what makes this quarterback situation with the Bears so confusing, because you look at the Bears roster and they have Allen Robinson, they're in on Kenny Golladay, and they have premium defensive players. And if Kyle Fuller is a part of that, you're thinking that this Bears defense and this Bears team can once again be one of the better defensive units in the league, but also be a team that can contend for the playoffs for a second consecutive year. But with Kyle Fuller out, you look at the Bears cornerback depth chart. Hey, this isn't breaking news to anybody. It's not good. It's not good at all. So, hey, maybe the Bears are making this move to save some money, and now they're going to possibly think about targeting a cornerback in the first round of the NFL draft. I actually think that could be a smart route for this franchise to go. But what is your level of concern at cornerback for this team when you look at that depth chart? This is what I want you to do. This is your opportunity to hop on board and join the show, and this is why Chat Sports is growing so fast, is because we are an interactive YouTube channel. And the reason why we've been able to just blossom and grow like this is because you guys are the best, you're very passionate, and our audience helps drive the show. So hop into the comment section, scale your level of concern at the cornerback position for the Chicago Bears from 1 to 10. I just mentioned that the Bears could possibly target a cornerback in the first round of the NFL draft. Here is some solid news for Bears fans out there. There are some really good players who you can target on either day 1 in the first round or on the second day of the NFL draft. Patrick Surtain, a lot of NFL draft gurus are really high on him. He can be a lockdown corner from day 1. Caleb Farley is also in that category. He opted out the 2020 season for Virginia Tech because of the coronavirus, but Caleb Farley is also an excellent cornerback. J.C. Horn, interesting fact here, he is the son of former Saints wide receiver Joe Horn, and J.C. Horn is going to have a long career in the NFL. And then on maybe the second day of the NFL draft, maybe Greg Newsome from Northwestern could be available for the Chicago Bears. And hey, Asante Samuel for the New England Patriots and the Philadelphia Eagles was a master at reading the eyes of quarterbacks and was an interception just phenomenon. Maybe he's passed those traits on to his son, Asante Samuel Jr., who went to Florida State. He is also a name that could be a premium target for the Chicago Bears. So once again, the Bears have released longtime cornerback Kyle Fuller. He was selected in the first round, 2014, by this team, and he's been one of the best cornerbacks in the league for 6+ years now. He's getting cut to free up cap space, and he would have had a cap hit of about $20 million. So when you factor all of this in, when you look at some of those draft prospects, I want to pose this question before we head out of here on Chicago Bears Now. Should the Bears in the 2021 NFL draft draft a quarterback? Type Y for yes and type N for no.